This is Bloomberg Tech. Coming up, AI's money race. Alphabet will raise $80 billion while Anthropic makes its IPO move. The confidential filing is in at the SEC.
Plus, Elon Musk's SpaceX is negotiating to pay razor-thin fees to Wall Street firms handling its IPO.
And HPE soars after its annual sales outlook beat estimates on the back of massive demand for AI infrastructure. We'll be joined by CEO Antonio Neri.
But there is so much going on in the meantime, and we start the show off with today's big number, Ed. It's $80 billion. Look, Alphabet sees that $75 billion being raised by SpaceX in its IPO and just says, well, hold my beer, I'm going to do $80 billion. We're seeing it being distributed in really novel ways, maybe trying to limit some of that dilution, Ed, more broadly. But $80 billion in future equity raised to finance AI infrastructure does have an impact on the stock. Look, we're going to have a little look at how we currently are seeing shares of Alphabet slightly under pressure on the day, but only slightly. We're down by 0.9%. We've actually come off of our lows amid what has been some anxiety in the market more broadly. But dig into what this equity issuance really is.
Yeah, here's what we need to know about the package. It includes a $10 billion Berkshire Hathaway investment, $30 billion in public offerings, and then a $40 billion so-called at-the-market program, ATM, to sell shares from time to time, beginning in the third quarter. That means starting on July 1st. Together, the transactions represent one of the largest equity deals of all time. And basically, it's just a capital expenditures story. We know from Alphabet this is how much CapEx will be this year, and we know that it's going to go up, and BI has an even bigger number.
It does. Let's get into what BI is all about. Bloomberg Intelligence analyst Robert Schiffman is joining us, who has analysis out on this today, saying this raise marks an important funding signal for hyperscalers as infrastructure spending moves along a multi-trillion-dollar path. They'd already raised $85 billion, Robert, in the credit market. And now they turn to the equity market. What does it mean more broadly for the size of the money that is needed by hyperscalers?
Yeah, well, put the beer away. Technology companies are popping champagne bottles right now. Listen, I've come on this show time and time again and said I've never been more bullish on the tech sector. And I think this move is wildly bullish. To get such a boost of confidence from, arguably the world's greatest investor in Berkshire Hathaway, to go against everything I've learned in math camp, where the weighted average cost of capital suggests you're supposed to be issuing more debt. And instead, obviously, Alphabet is so confident in ROIs on their investments. To be able to raise this much money, to have this big of a kitty, certainly suggests that spending this year, they said, was going to go up significantly. Our friends on the equity team are saying they might spend as much as $300 billion next year on CapEx.
Robert, stay with us. We have some breaking news crossing the Bloomberg Terminal. Red headline: Trump to get audit immunity, even as $1.8 billion fund in doubt. Basically, U.S. officials are continuing with this agreement that bars the government from probing past tax filings of President Trump and his businesses. This is Bloomberg reporting according to a source. There is a plan to set up an anti-weaponization fund that's now on hold. We're going to bring you more details of that story as we get it, but coming from Bloomberg via a source, Trump to get audit immunity, even as a $1.8 billion fund is now in doubt. Let's get back to our top story. Alphabet raising $800 billion in equity to raise in different structures. What you just said is so important because Alphabet has held our hand on this a little bit. So capital expenditure, $190 billion in the current period of the year. They said it would be higher, going into 27. You just referenced the BI number, which is like CapEx could be $300 billion for a year. Am I right? Am I misspeaking? That sounds
the numbers are enormous.
Crazy.
Listen, the biggest hyperscalers are spending close to $800 billion cumulatively this year. I think it's going to be well over $1 trillion next year and $5 trillion over the next 5 years. So they're sort of searching the globe for all different sources of capital. It's summertime. The pool is open for raising capital, whether it's equity, public debt, private debt, currencies across the globe. Everyone wants to have a little bit a piece of AI, and this is the way to get it. Again, I think it's so bullish because there's so much capital on the sidelines that's willing to fund this. The beauty of issuing equity here, it's actually not the first time somebody's done it. Oracle did this earlier in the year, saying they were going to issue $25 billion of equity. It's super positive, obviously, from a credit perspective. It helps create and protect healthy balance sheets. I think going forward, what it also means are stock buybacks are going to be lower. You're not going to be issuing $80 billion of stock and then start buying stock back anytime We've actually already started to see slowdowns in stock buybacks, and I think over the next year you're going to see more of that, and you might see more equity issuance. And part of that is because spending is going so much higher, and I think it's because the confidence level in monetization of AI is finally coming to fruition, and we saw that in first quarter results.
I think I misspoke a second ago and said 800 billion, but they will raise 80 billion still. Big numbers. Robert Schiffman of Bloomberg Intelligence, thank you.